everybody is wondering,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? You was, when you was getting a restaurant, what happened? I get that all the time. Like, what happened to the restaurant? What happened to the restaurant? And I just feel like it's a part of my story. Like, I don't want to, my goal is not to bash anybody, but I feel like I have to be honest because I was too stubborn.
Welcome to the Bigger Than Food podcast, y'all. I'm your host, Apollo Woods, where we talk with amazing entrepreneurs here in Oklahoma City or across the country. And today we have Miss Saysha Orange. She's an entrepreneur with an amazing story. We're going to get into a lot today. So y'all, hold on to your seats because we're going to get into it.
Hold on tight.
We ain't running from no conversations today.
Not at all.
Because I think her story and how she's gotten through in entrepreneurship, some things in her personal life. So, like I like to start off with, I want people to know more about who you are than what you do.
Right.
Right. Because who you are influences what you do.
Mm-hmm.
So my first question is, who is Saysha?
Who is Saysha? Saysha is probably one of the most outgoing people you're gonna meet. The hustling mentality has been in me. My mom, my dad. I was raised by my mom, my dad, my stepdad, my real dad, my stepmother. So I had the dynamics of I had basically four families that I had, and all of them was hard workers. My stepdad, he's been an entrepreneur since he's came into my life at the age of 3. He's owned a barbershop. My dad and my mom both managers in their positions. So the hustling mentality, the work hard, the work ethic, all of that has been installed in me since I was young. I'm also, a loving person, a mother, a wife, a friend, a sister, just an all around go getter, not just in money wise, but just in my life, my children, the way I parent, the way I love on my people, just an all around just loving go getter, basically.
So would you say you love hard?
I definitely love hard, and I'm a Cancer.
I'm an Aries, so I can't really. I don't, all that stuff. All I know is I'm a fire sign. So
The fire is definitely there.
Oh yeah,
but I'm
yeah.
gonna cry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry about it.
We got tissue today, so you use it. Okay, so you talked about just the dynamics of your family, right? So let's back up. So where are you from?
I am from Oklahoma City metro area.
Okay.
I started.
Now that's a lot.
I know that's why
I'm
about to break it down. Because
where are you from? It's like on Black Panther. They was asking, who are you? Where are you from?
I grew up north side Oklahoma City, Chisholm Creek to be exact. I grew up there. We moved. I started at Milwood. From Milwood, I went to West Nichols Hills. From West Nichols Hills.
So elementary
school.
Milwood. Okay.
And then West Nichols Hills, I got there probably, I think, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. From there, I went to Hoover. I was at Hoover.
Oh.
I ain't gonna talk about Hoover. That's it.
Okay, wait. Okay, before it. So you starting off at Milwood, basically predominantly Black school.
Yes.
You go from there to West Nichols Hills.
A predominantly white school.
Okay, so you go from one cultural experience to another cultural experience.
Yes.
How was that transition going? And what age? How old were you then?
I think I got to West Nichols Hills 3rd grade.
Okay, so fairly young.
Yeah, I was still young. I don't even think I understood the dynamics of
race and all that because you were still young.
I was still young.
Okay.
I did notice the difference though. I got to West Nichols Hills, and I dealt with my first racist teacher, I guess you could say. Marking assignments that as 0 or saying I didn't turn in assignments that I know I had. It had got to the point to where my mom started noticing we sitting down doing homework together. I go home, I go to school, I'm turning in work, I'm still getting zeros.
Okay.
It got to the point she had to call a meeting with the principal, him, and nothing really was resolved. So that was, I think, my 5th grade year. I left and we went to Hoover, 6th grade.
Okay. Hoover's where?
Hoover is North Oklahoma City. I think it's I don't even know if it's Hoover right now. It's in the village. It's in the village area.
Okay, so for the sake of people watching the list, that was Hoover Middle School.
Hoover Middle School. I was 6th grade. So after 5th grade, that was 5th grade. Okay. I left.
I'm just saying.
5th grade, I went to middle school.
Because I be having to clarify some things. Because I don't be wanting no problems.
So I was in middle school at 6th grade.
Hoover Middle School in 6th grade. It's interesting you say that because in 4th grade, from Duncan. So in 4th grade, I hated, that was the worst like K through 12 of my life. My school was predominantly white school. At the time, I was the only black student in the school. Couple times, 2 or 3 of us. 4th grade year, the first time I'd ever been slapped by somebody, white girl, in front of the teacher.
Ooh. You didn't have no cousins.
I got detention. I was called a nigga that same year.
By a different student?
I got detention for telling the teacher. And they said, you're getting detention because you told on somebody and you're tattling. So of course parents got involved. I hated that year. And I wanted to go to school with my cousins. How did you maneuver through that? Your parents came to support you. Do you remember that time and how that impacted you from that experience?
Yeah, I actually do, because 5th grade, that's a staple point in my life where I feel like I was really kind of upset with my parents, because I wanted them, like, I lived in this neighborhood where all my friends, they were going to Eisenhower. All my friends on the block, they was going to Eisenhower, and here I am having to go to this white school in this white neighborhood, out of my neighborhood. And I didn't understand that. And so then when I dealt with that, my parents, of course, they did do what they was supposed to do as parents. They addressed it, but I still had to stay. So now I'm going to school and I'm like, is he going to retaliate against me because I didn't tell my parents? Like, we didn't have a meeting, like, now I got to go to this man's class. And now that I'm older and I'm a parent, I felt like my parents was doing what they were putting me in an environment that they felt like was better for me. A lot of my friends, growing up, they were doing things I wasn't doing. I didn't start doing those things until I was a little bit older, So I just think that they were doing what they felt was best for me at the time. And I won't ever knock them for that. But now that I'm a parent, I feel like I take my kids, I take what they put out to me a little bit different. So like, for me, I feel like I'm just gonna always ride with my kids, like, and not saying my parents didn't. I'm not saying that at all. I just think it was a different time then.
I think about like, so they come out of the baby boomer era, civil rights movement, that kind of thing. So it's, hey, yeah, this is happening to you, but you got to learn to push through it.
Right.
Because they did. Right. Their parents did. So how that translated was probably different when we came around, because now it's, like, I don't want to push through that. Like, I don't want to do
everything now.
Right. So now you have anxiety as a 5th grader. Do you feel like those experiences, 5th grade year and going on, changed how you interacted with people?
I will say at that point, not so much.
Okay.
Not so much. Because you got to think about it. That next year, I was back with my people. I was at Hoover.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I was back with my folks at Hoover. And then 7th grade year, I did a half a semester of my 7th grade year. It was a new charter school that's started up called Independence. And they're still open.
Oh, yeah.
Independent. Yep. The year that I went was the first year they opened.
Okay. What year was that?
That was, I say probably 98, 99.
Okay. So you had third grade transition, and then
7th grade.
7th grade, you get to go back So
I
about
gotta go back. But at this time, when I go back, a lot of my friends came too. Because
Okay.
at that point, our parents, I think at that point, the black people, my black friends, our parents were doing well for themselves.
Okay.
So they felt like, oh, we're gonna put them over here.
Okay.
You know,
They gonna be in there together.
yeah, we was
Okay.
all over there together. There was a few of us. I finished that. At that point, at that time, my parents was selling their home
Okay.
in Chisholm Creek, and our house sold faster than we expected.
Mhm.
So then I was pulled, and I went to Rogers Middle
Okay.
School.
Yep.
Rogers Middle School in Spencer, because at that point, we had to go live with my grandmother in Spencer. So now I'm dealing with coming to a whole different side of town, to the country folk.
Right.
I'm a city girl.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't grow
You
up
live in the city.
and
You
now
close
I'm
to the
coming.
mall. You go shop on Northwest 23rd.
Yeah, we go to the mall, we do this stuff. I'm coming where I'm waking up, I'm smelling cow manure.
Right.
I'm like, okay, how long we got?
The rules are different in the country. They black people.
It was
Rules are different in the country.
But I built some of my best relationships.
Okay.
With some of my closest friends there. I came, went to Rogers, finished my 7th grade year, 8th grade year there, went to Star Spencer, my 9th grade year.
Okay.
By that time, our house was finished building.
Before that, let's get to that point. So you said some of your best what was different about the relationship, that being a city girl, moving out to Spencer? What was different? Like, why do you think you had better relationships in that time part of your life?
It sounds like crazy as it sounds like, when I got to I got to like Spencer and Rogers, like the girls was different. Even the boys, like everybody was so friendly. It wasn't a competition. It wasn't, oh, this clique, that clique.
Yeah.
When I got to Rogers, it felt like a family.
Yep.
It wasn't diverse. It wasn't, oh, we don't hang with that group. We don't hang. They all, like, even right now, if you see the class of, I graduated 2004. You see the class of 2004, 2003, they like family in Star Spencer, So I felt like I was finally a part of something. When I was at Rogers and stuff, I mean, not Rogers, Hoover, it was like, oh, this clique and this clique, or we don't fool with those people. And I wasn't used to that, especially coming from West Nichols Hills. It was, so that was the difference.
Right.
I can say.
But that's still the spirit of Spencer, though.
Yeah, that's just
know if somebody's from Spencer.
Yeah, and then
tight-knit family, people still go back. Like, I'd be jealous because like 4th of July, it'd be going down 4th of July.
Yep.
Like, everybody still, it's like that. Like, even in Duncan, we know these are the times everybody come back home. And it seems like the people are intentionally coming back home. And but the mentality of like business or perseverance and fortitude, like, it's just something different. You're like, oh, you went to Spencer, or you from Spencer, or you like, exactly, right?
Yeah.
It's something different about the Spencer life and the culture that it just something different.
Definitely. And that's exactly how I felt. So it was a different, I built bonds with these people that are still to this day. Because I just told class of 2004 Star Spencer I'm coming to their class reunion too. Because them was still my people. But so that was Star Spencer. When our house finished getting built, I had to transition over to Midwest City.
Okay.
Midwest City High School.
Oh, so you went from North Oklahoma City, basically in the core of Oklahoma City, and then started going further east and then like southeast.
Right. Well, because we got our house built in Forest Park.
Okay.
So Forest Park at that time was, I think it was I can't remember if it was I think it was all Forest Park. That was Midwest City.
Okay.
That was Midwest City. So yeah, because the buses came. So I was at Midwest City. And at first I'm thinking, I'm crying. I'm like, I do not want to leave Star Spencer. I love Star Spencer. And I'm thinking Midwest City is like this white school, I'm thinking like, what the heck? Now you finna put me back with these people. Not them people, but in
like it was
got to Midwest City and I seen a lot of us. It was a lot of us in Midwest City. And then from there, I built relationships with those people. And when I say Midwest City, it's even my white friends from Midwest City. it wasn't no different.
Yeah, like a lot of military
A
families.
lot, yeah.
Yep.
So it's
Yep.
like everybody, we just all clicked.
Right.
It didn't matter where you was from.
Yeah.
One of my good friends that I met in Midwest City, his name was Guam. He's from Guam.
Yeah.
And we still keep in contact to this day. You know, it's just and also me. I'm just a people person. I talk. I don't know no stranger.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk and get to know you. So I think that helped me fit in as well.
Okay. So when you look at like looking back, you go from your elementary, middle school, high school years, a lot of adjustment, different things that happen, those formidable years. Can you see how it's just in that phase of your life? Can you see how that has influenced or shaped what you are becoming or became later on?
Yes, definitely. I'm comfortable in any room I'm in. You know, I have that confidence. I walk into any room, whether it's a room full of my people, it's a room full of white people, it's a diverse room.
Right.
I'm comfortable wherever I go because I feel like my foundation was the way it was laid for me as I was growing up. I had no choice but to fit in, you know, in with these different groups.
So then also now being a parent, now can you see something different of why your parents made the decision that they made that allowed you to have these different, whether they were voluntary decisions or not, right? But it's their decisions had an impact on you now being able to say, like, I can show up in any room with confidence. I'm comfortable in any room.
Actually, I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
And let me elaborate on that because I turned around and I did the same thing my mom did. So my kids, they grew up in Edmond. Well, they started out at Forest Park because I was at my mom's. When I finally moved out, I moved to Edmond.
Okay.
I felt like I was one of them. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. We're gonna be truthful in this session here. Okay. I was one of them. I felt like our kids ain't going to no East Side school. They ain't going to Douglas. Right. They ain't going to this, you know. Right. They're gonna
You'll give them the best.
Give them the best. Right. You know.
And we think sometimes the best is leaving us as Black people. Like the best, it looks like give them more opportunities and experiences, looks like white acceptance or white society. When, I mean, honestly, that comes from the impact of the Black middle class leaving and integration, because we're not too far removed from that.
Right. Correct. Right.
So you do something that we often repeat what we experience, and you don't know until you find out.
Right.
Right.
Because that's what happened. My kids have been going to Edmond schools up until, I want to say maybe 2 years ago.
Okay.
2 years ago. And I brought them to Milwood.
So how many years?
So they were there we was in Edmond for about 8 years.
Okay.
8 years total.
So most of their elementary school?
Sorry, 9 years. 9 years.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I think it was about 9 years we was in Edmond.
So they were there in Edmond schools for most of their elementary
for most
school.
of all of their elementary
all of the elementary school
and half of their middle school.
Okay.
When we moved them to Milwood, we were still living in Edmond at first, the first year. My oldest was 9th grade, and my middle son was 8th grade, and then my daughter was 2nd grade.
Okay.
So this is their 2nd year at Milwood. And I felt like I needed to move them to give them culture because I felt like I had kind of robbed them of that.
Okay.
Moving them to Edmond because they were so trying to use the correct words here.
Look, say what you got.
They were a little whitewashed.
Okay.
You know, they felt like white was right. And it would piss me off.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm like, but I'm not looking at, well, Saysha, you brung them here. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, we from
right.
You know, you're
right.
I'm going out and I said, you know what?
Yeah.
I got to get them from, you know, I got to get them from Edmond. Then my middle son, He was a little bit more diverse because he did AAU. So
Okay.
he played basketball with a lot of these other kids
Right.
from these other schools. So he was a little bit more of my hood child.
Mhm.
You know, if you want to, whatever you want to,
Right.
however you want to phrase
But your
it.
ninth grader.
My ninth grader, he was, I was trying to get him to look into HBCU schools. He would not even do it. You know, so it's, for me, that bothered me.
So he had more of the experience, I would say, than you had, because the oldest, he's seen more. He's like, why are we doing this? This don't make sense to me. So being the first, right, giving the best, he's like, why are we doing this? Middle child gets a bit of a hybrid. The one that goes in second grade is like, I don't know no different. Like, this is what I know.
Yeah. Okay. So when we got to Milwood, that first year was a struggle for my oldest. He plays football, so he was struggling trying to find his. Now he trying to find his position over here. Yeah. He's coming to where he was the man at, Santa Fe. He was, playing JV and varsity, and he comes over here to Milwood to where he got all these other kids,
right?
That's a little bit more advanced than him. And I feel like another thing with that.
So he had Coach O then at some point in time.
Huh?
He had Big O at some point in time as a teacher?
Coach, no, I was going to say he was gone at that time. I don't think he was there.
So I think O left in 2018.
Yeah, this was just 2024? So 2022?
Oh, yeah, he would be too young. Yeah. Okay.
So when he got over there. So now I'm seeing my oldest battling things I was battling, because he's trying to fit in. He's trying to find his groove over here, and that bothered me. So now I'm at home crying. I'm like, did I do the wrong thing?
Right.
Should I have left him where he was at? But it all played out. Now he's a junior in high school. He's doing better. He has friends and things like that. So I think,
well, let's kind of pull that together. Like, it's, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but for the person watching or listening, how are you navigating that? How are you navigating that as a mom, as a wife? How are you navigating this as you're seeing this play out? Because I'm assuming you saw you saw yourself and how things were playing in their experiences. Because you can only provide what you've experienced or what you think is best.
Right.
But you're seeing this stuff play out, and you're trying to give a different experience for 3 different kids living in like their own 3 different lives.
Yep. Right. And having 3 different experiences.
Right. So how are you maneuvering that?
Honestly, I'm praying. I'm asking God to show me the right way, to guide my steps so that I can align them with his way, for my children. My husband, he was a big motivator at that, because I'm crying to him at night, because I'm like, I want to put him back at Edmond. I don't want him to be over here miserable. I don't want him to be over here not fitting in. And it was one time he told me, and I'm about to cry. He had told me, he said, I said, well, who do you eat lunch with? And he said, by himself.
This your oldest? And he's at Milwood?
He's at Milwood. And it wasn't that he didn't have friends. My son is just, he's such an introvert. He doesn't really, if you don't talk to him, he's not going to talk to you. It's not that he has an issue with nobody, or he don't like people. He's just very to himself. He's always been like that. So for me, it was very hard as a mom to let my son go through that, but I felt like he had to go through that. I felt like I had to let him go through that. I had to let him man up, because the world ain't just white, it's black and white. You gotta, when you go to college and stuff, are you like, what are you gonna do?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can't go and pull you from college because this college is not fitting to what you like.
Right.
So I felt like it was hard, but I had to let him go through it. And I'm glad that I did, because now he's established over there. Now he's comfortable. But it was literally me praying and just asking God to cover him.
So that's mom. That part is mom doing the nurturing thing, right?
Right.
But then there's wife, right? So you and the husband got to come together and figure out how we're going to help navigate this. So I can see from husband to son, father to son, how that conversation goes. And I assume they probably had their own conversations, but how How was it as a wife working with your husband to help your son? Because you got this nurturing sense and you want to save your baby boy.
Right, right.
Pops is probably like, man,
Well, let
look,
me clarify this too.
dude got to figure this out.
That's exactly what I got, because my oldest is not my husband's biological child. So, but I did talk to both. I talked to my son's dad and I talked to my husband, and they both told me I gotta stop babying him.
He'll be all right.
He'll be all right. He gonna be all right. No, we not pulling him. He not going back to Edmond. He gonna stick it out here.
Yeah.
So at that point, I kind of was like, all right, y'all win. Y'all got it. Son, I'm sorry. They said you can't go. You know, that's
But here's a cell phone. Text me if you need something.
Yeah,
I know moms be doing that.
So that's where I got from both of them. He'll be all right.
Right.
You know, but that's coming from a man's point of view, because they knew he would be all right.
Right.
So that's how we I would say, I guess as a wife, I had to maneuver through that. I had to listen.
Right.
And follow.
And so what's happening? He's all right.
He's all right.
Yeah.
He's all right.
Yeah.
He's all right. So
I think that balance is necessary, and just in, you want to do like when you love somebody, you want to do the thing you think you're helping them, but you're removing it, that they're not learning how to navigate that.
Right.
And that doesn't mean that a person that is more introverted to themselves has to be loud.
Right.
And whatnot, because people would probably assume that I'm just this huge extroverted person, but like when the clock is off, like I don't feel like talking. There ain't nothing wrong. I just don't feel like talking, because I'm usually always put in a position to talk, to lead, or whatever, and I just don't want to.
Right.
But having those different experiences actually helped you in your growth, right?
Right.
So we talked more about how life was coming up, Mom. But there's this piece that we haven't talked about yet, where in the navigating and finding the purpose and the business and those things, because you mentioned that you had an example, having a father who was an entrepreneur, being in that environment. When did that itch happen to where I want my own?
It came from, I grew up in my dad's shop, his barber salon. And back in the day, if you from Oklahoma City, you know of Adams. Adams. Okay, that's where my dad's. He's an Adam. He's he's a Burton.
It's funny.
Yeah,
I was talking to somebody yesterday. We were talking about third spaces, and they were like, they mentioned Gates. They were like, but nobody talks about Adams. Now I'm not. I'm not from here. So when someone says, "Oh, okay," it's funny. And then the next day we talking about Adams Barbershop.
My dad, he went to Star Spencer, so that's another reason we was in Spencer. But he went to Star Spencer. He was he was working at his uncle's shop, which is Adams, and he had been there or whatever. That's where him and my mom met. And so when he got his own spot, which is Cutting Up Barbershop, over here off of 36, when he got his own spot, I spent a lot of time in the salon. My hairstylist was in the salon. So I would, her name is LaRonda. I learned a lot from them. Right? Just being at the shop and seeing how people came in and showed my dad love, and like we out and they like, oh, hey, that's Keith. He from Cutting Up and things like that.
Saturdays at a black barbershop or a black salon is different.
Yeah, it is that very
especially back in the day, like us, it was like
it's a culture in
there wasn't a whole lot of like we had basketball or games going on Saturdays. It was you wake up, you clean the house. There's gonna be some errands be ran probably later on, but go get this haircut or his hair got to be done because we got to get ready for Sunday.
Yeah, a lot.
So you get the front row seat of the conversation.
Me, I'm young, I'm the kid in there, and I'm in there with the grown folks. I'm like, oh, they do that. Like, what they talking about? So I picked up on a lot in the barbershop. I will say that. And then with my dad, it was crazy because my real dad and my stepdad have always had a good relationship. So I got to see that, I got to witness, as well as my mom and my stepmom, they had a good relationship. So I was the family foundation that was always laid, to me. My real dad, he was the plant manager of Carlisle Food Service, which was right across the street from my stepdad's shop. So then I go over there you know, and I'm coming out.
So you just bouncing around.
I'm just bouncing around, but I'm seeing my dad was, like I said, a plant manager. So I'm seeing him in charge. I knew then I wasn't gonna work for nobody. I didn't want to work for nobody. I knew then, like, I want my own. Okay. You know, did I know it was gonna be food at the time? No.
So what was the first thing you could say, like
fashion? I wanted to do what I originally wanted to do was to have a clothing boutique, clothing and shoe boutique. That's what I wanted to do because I've always been big on fashion. But I don't even. Are we there yet? Are we talking about us getting into the entrepreneurship? Because this was after college. We're gonna go through there, but I can start on that.
Wait. I
know that's
no, because I kind of feel like, okay, so got into fashion, you get the itch. So talk me more about getting into fashion.
I love fashion,
right?
But was that my passion? It wasn't.
But were you I mean, you grew up in the barbershop salon. Like, were you the person that, hey, I got this dress, it's $100. Were you that person, or were you? Are you like the eBay? Were you like the catalog? Are you the JCPenney catalog entrepreneur? Like, which one were you?
More like eBay.
Okay.
But it was more so, I just loved to dress. So I'll say.
So you liked it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't so much that.
And back then we didn't have a lot of urban clothing stores.
That's true.
So that's what my mom was going for, because I don't ever want to do the same thing somebody else is doing. So when I'm thinking from an entrepreneur standpoint, I'm thinking like, okay, we don't really got a lot of urban clothing stores out here, you know.
But was that thought process unique in your friend circle? Because we don't, we see like we don't have a lot of things here. That's the common thing. But people always say that. And not many people go to the place of, I'm going to identify a gap in the market and I'm going to pursue that. So you pursued that, but then what did that lead to pursuing that?
Nothing.
That's interesting.
It didn't lead to anything. But I was young. Okay. And I didn't really know. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have nobody. I had my dad them had the barbershop. That's a different type of business.
Yeah, you saw them in business, but you didn't have that like coaching on this is how you do business.
Correct. Okay. And then a friend of mine's, she opened up a clothing store, an urban clothing store at one point in time. And I just seen it didn't really go as planned, you know. So I was at that point, I was just like, okay, that's not it. That's not the avenue I want to take. Then we started getting those urban clothing here. You know, we started getting a coup and all that type of stuff. Dealers start bringing all that stuff here. So now I'm trying to weigh out like where do I fit in? Where do I?
But you also have it like you're seeing like your fathers do well in their career in business. You're seeing them do well, and then you experience this thing. You're like, it's not going well. That's not how it's supposed to go. Right. So you're kind of battling that. And then at some point, I'm trying not to fast track to the tacos because we've talked about it. And I'm probably like, you know what, forget it. Let's just fast track to the tacos because I'm trying to hold back what I know you want to get to. So let's get to the tacos. So all right, so you have dip tacos.
Yes.
You have that's the business that you've launched and created, and that being a journey, right?
Yes.
So let's fast track because I'm trying to hold my mule, like we say in the country, and I can't because I know that's the part that it's an important part of your life.
It's very
all right. So let's talk about dip tacos. How did dip tacos start? Okay. Now, before she started, y'all, I'm just gonna look. This is this when I say in the beginning, hold your seat. If you need to press pause on this to go get you something to drink and get ready, this is where we're gonna really dive into the journey of business and what she has done amazing at. So, all right, we're gonna press the button again and keep on going. All right, so let's get into these tacos. So tell me how dip tacos start. Let me drink some water though.
Yeah, I guess water. Clear your throat up a little bit.
Tacos.
So, I'm gonna start from the very beginning. Sure. So, Get Dipped started, I'll say during COVID.
Okay.
Um,
2020,
no.
20 or 2021?
2020. 2020.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is the beginning of COVID where people are like, folks got the cold or flu or don't really know.
And I'm gonna even back it up a little bit before that, because I knew I wanted to get into food. So before tacos, I started kind of doing little plates, selling plates and caterings. And I was in culinary school. Okay. I was in culinary school. So
Did you tell me that? I don't know if you told me that.
that's when I told you that. Thought I told you that.
So what year did you go to culinary school?
I was in culinary school when was COVID? 2020? Was that COVID?
It's the start of it, yeah.
So I started 2019. I started 2019. Where? Platt. So that's a.
I had been to Platt several times during that year.
Mm-hmm. I was at Platt, and they tried to take our money. They shut down during COVID.
Okay. Yep. Because I was talking to the advisors over there because that was kind of the start of me really getting serious about OKC Black Eats, because I left corporate America January 2019. Interesting. So you did culinary school. Did you finish at Platt?
We did not get to finish. They shut. Okay, so COVID hit. So instead of us going into the institution, they did us online. We were doing online.
Didn't they? Was there something about losing accreditation or something like that? I remember that now.
Yes, they were trying not to.
Okay.
Yes. It was a big ordeal, and I really don't remember verbatim like everything that happened. But long story short, COVID hit. We went virtual. They told us that we were going to go back into the classrooms. They kept giving us a runaround of different things. Finally, our instructor came out and said, there will be no more classes. That's when we found out about the credit thing, like us not getting credit for any of this stuff, because the company that actually owned them, it was a lot of back end stuff that transpired that we were not aware of. Luckily, we did not have to pay back the student loans, which we did have to fight that, though. It was a group of us. We had to fight that, not to have to pay back the student loans, because we couldn't finish the course. So at that time, that was culinary school. So now I'm at home. I'm kind of feeling defeated, because now another avenue where I felt was finna take me to another level has been taken away from me. And now we're in COVID. World is locked down.
Right.
And I'm like, what am I gonna do? I got a family, like it was a lot going on. So I had started seeing, during that time I was on social media line, I started seeing in California, they were doing these tacos. Okay, these birria tacos. And I wanted to I said, I gotta go try these tacos, because anybody know me, I love Mexican food, and the key to my heart is tacos. I love tacos. That's probably my favorite food. I said I wanted to go to California. Well, of course, that wasn't gonna be no time soon, because we were on lockdown. Then when we got out of lockdown, certain places were still on lockdown. So I tried to make it at home. The first time I tried to make it at home, I followed a recipe that I had found on YouTube, and that recipe just didn't do it for me. I'm looking for the flavor. It didn't bring it how I wanted it.
Because California Mexican food is different.
It's different. I heard that.
It's not that flavorful.
It's not.
No.
It's not.
It's like also like Mexican food in New Mexico.
I was just getting ready to say, even in Texas.
Like Tex-Mex Mexican food in New Mexico is not what we enjoy.
Even when I went to Tulum and I went to Mexico,
it's different.
It's different.
Yeah.
They don't ask for no cheese over there. They look at they don't even they like cheese, queso cheese. What is that?
Yeah. I think then after eventually you start to realize like different regions are different. You get more understanding of food. So when you started realizing that this is not tasting like I want to taste, and I you probably told me, but I just don't recall you telling me you're going to culinary school. But it also makes sense of that interest to go to culinary school and that background, that foundation of how you started to explore putting these flavors together.
That's exactly what I did.
So then who were you experimenting on?
My family.
The family ate a lot of food. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And my friends, because I know my friends ain't gonna sugarcoat nothing. My family sure isn't. So it was them. They were my test
So regular tacos, you know, you feel like you pretty much had that on lock.
Yeah.
And then there's this dipping sauce, the
Consomme.
birria, right?
The
What's
consomme.
consomme?
Consomme.
Okay, I think
Consomme.
whatever it is. Look, consomme, whatever. Y'all know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's sometimes not flavorful, depending on where you go.
Depending on where you're going, yeah.
Right.
But then some of them have like a cinnamon, because cinnamon is one of the ingredients. I don't put cinnamon in mine.
Okay.
I didn't like the flavor of the cinnamon, but I knew at that point.
But that was also still new to the, I would call it, urban market. It's new to dipping your tacos into something other than macani sauce or salsa, right?
Right.
Still new. So you decided to do that. Why? Why'd you choose that?
Because it was something different.
Because you just said earlier about you noticed that we didn't have certain things.
And I want to bring things.
You the person that just gonna intentionally go against the grain, right? Like you're that kind of person. If they doing that,
I'm gonna
do this way. Yeah. Why? Because
just have
always been. I got it.
My mom she used to hate that because she want me to go this way.
You're like, this way, Mom. Nope, this way.
Yeah, that was me.
Going this way.
Yeah.
So then when you started to perfect this recipe, you started selling plates, and you got the buzz going, and people are wanting to get it. And when did you realize? Because now it seems like finally you got your groove, right? When did you start to realize, like, I think I found my thing. Now this is something I want to pursue. Do you remember that feeling in that moment and where you were when that happened?
I definitely did. So I started out doing them out of my house. Okay. Right. And each week I would do it once a week. So each week my orders got bigger. Good. My orders got bigger. I'm getting shout outs on Facebook and Instagram. And it got to the point to where I could not produce enough to where I felt like it was lucrative for me.
Okay.
In my home. So I had
so you're buying stuff like from the grocery store. You're not really buying it wholesale. You just as if you're just a regular person cooking.
Nothing.
Okay.
Right. So then I want to say I may have made a post on Facebook, and I was looking for a kitchen to rent out. Okay. And Prince Mason, coach, I said coach, I'm sorry, Chef PJ, he had just actually got a spot in Midwest City off of 10th
Street.
Yeah. And it was just a little kitchen. It was little.
Yeah, because that was the soul food restaurant.
Yeah, it was a soul food restaurant before that. Yeah. And he was like, hey, I got this spot. Yeah. You know, I as long as I'm not doing the catering, I'll let you rent it out.
Gotcha.
On certain days. You just let me know. It worked out perfect, you know? So I said, okay, I went out there, looked at the location. I said, okay, we can do this. Like, so that's why I always shout him out, because Prince really gave me I feel like he put me in the game, you know, because when I got to Midwest City, I went off.
Yep.
I was able to produce more. I was getting, I was doing it every Tuesday. I was doing Taco Tuesdays. Okay. So then I started doing Tuesday and Thursdays. And it was just, I was going, and I said, I remember just sitting down once I was beat, and I had some of my friends that was helping me. My husband always right there helping me. And I was just so tired one night, and I was like, God, is this where you telling me my avenue is? Is this where I need to be? And I remember asking him that. And I remember the next Tuesday I went, I literally sold out within maybe 3 hours.
Wow.
And open. And I had doubled up this time. Okay. I doubled up on what I was
doing. Still 86.
Yeah. I still sold out. So I felt like that was my confirmation. When you ask God, he's going to provide that answer for you. You just got to listen to it. So at that point, I said, okay, let me try to find my own spot, because I need to be open more than just these 2 days.
Hold on. You talk about your faith a lot.
Yeah.
And you mentioned several times about praying, like there's a moment you pray, ask for guidance. You said, order your steps. Now we know that song in the church. I ain't gonna sing it for y'all. So what role has faith played in this journey for you?
A big role. That's I don't do nothing nothing without asking him first, asking God first, shall I say. I don't move until he tells me to move.
Just like that.
I was raised in the church, and I believe and I trust in our Lord Savior. So I feel like if it's aligned for us, if we ask him, he's going to provide it for us. So if I ask him for this and I'm asking him to give me the reassurance that this is where I need to be, and then I get something like that, he just answered me.
Right.
So it's all in just talking to him. I talk to God like he's you know, I have a relationship and I talk to him and I hear him, you know, so I just move off of how he tells me to.
So you're taking this faith walk. So all the things that you experience in those formative years, moving here, moving there, meeting new people, you know, kids going through a different transitioning, all this stuff is happening as you're coaching and leading, and then this food thing is taking off, right? And now you're trying to you're outgrowing the kitchen space that you're using, right?
Right.
I would say like a ghost kitchen, right? You're outgrowing it. So where does the food truck come into play here?
So originally, I wanted a food truck first.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to be locked down to
oh, I remember now. Yeah, you about to cry. I know this. I remember this part.
So
look.
I didn't want a restaurant. That wasn't what I was really looking for. I wanted a food truck. I wanted to be able to move around. I didn't want to be confined to one location, you know. But then my mom, she was like, well, let's do a lounge. Like, let's get a restaurant. You know, we can do this. And Mom, I'm sorry, you know. I'm sorry.
She loves you.
I do. So I kind of started going with it. It sounded good. You know, remember I told you I looked at the East Point location first.
Wait, so you normally go left when someone says go right. This time you decided to go right.
I did. Okay. And it was because I saw the vision of what my mom wanted to do. And me being the daughter that I am, I wanted to help her too. You know, I wanted to be like, this was gonna be a family affair type thing. You know, I'm like, okay, cool, let's do this. And I'm not gonna lie, at the time I kind of needed my mom's funding to help me, you know, so I kind of got a little. I'm like, okay, what you talking about? So I looked at the East Point location first where Scrambled is. And it was gonna be a lot of work. And it was a lot of work and it was really big. And at that point, I didn't really want nothing that big. I didn't want anything that big. And that was a lot of money that I was going to have to invest into that I didn't have. So I was like, okay, that's not it. Well, then the location downtown fell into my lap. The location is in Midtown. It's small. And I had a little rooftop at the top. So that way it could be a come and go spot. But if on some nights, say we want to just open up the rooftop and let people go eat and enjoy, you know, that was something
it's at the scale and capacity you could handle at that time. So as you're looking for these different spaces, you know, what's going through your mind, and you're talking to your husband about like how are you deciding where to go and what to do?
I have a realtor that I was working with. I had a realtor that I was working with, and she actually put me into.
I said we gonna talk about stuff, but I don't want it to be too bad. Yeah. Okay.
So
you're finding your space, and so you find your space. That larger space just didn't work for what your dream was, and then there is the space you find that's scalable, what you want. You know, you're grooving into it, and then you're making a commitment to the space.
Correct.
So dive into that.
All right. So I get the space. I meet with the owners of the space, and they love what I'm doing. When I came in, had that meeting with them, I brought them samples of my food. Because at this point, I want you not to just see me and hear me, but I want you to know what I'm bringing to the table. So I bring samples of my food. The whole office, they loved it. We want you in the building.
So at that time, you were going to be the first Black-owned restaurant in Midtown at that time.
Yeah.
And would be in close proximity to another first Black-owned floral plant shop in Midtown as well. So you're within inches or feet of each other.
Right.
Together. 2 Black women on the spot in Midtown.
Yep.
Which was a first.
And which was a first. And I was extremely excited, for this opportunity. So now I signed my contract with them, and all the paperwork, and we're set to okay, so let me back it up. When I signed my contract, the building is completely like nothing's there. It's blank. It's a blank slate. So in my contract, it was the company was to put up all walls, ceilings, light fixtures, just the basics. And anything outside of that was on
Right.
Okay. Well, in order for me to get in there to get my stuff going, I have to wait for this company to
do their part.
to do their part.
Right.
Which took over a year. Okay. I can tell you right now, I signed my lease, my contract lease, whatever, with them in October of 2021.
Okay. So COVID's still happening. We're not out the, we ain't out the woods.
Of 2021. So fast forward, we're, I'm there. I'm reaching out to them, asking when we're gonna, get things started. Oh, we're waiting on this. Oh, we need this. Oh, we need specs. I'm getting them everything they asked for. I'm getting into them. Okay. So here we go. We fast forward until December of 2022. December of 2022 is when they broke ground in the building to start building the walls for me.
Okay.
Okay. So we're there. We're there, they're getting stuff together. I want to say, so I lost my cousin January 5th, 2023. When that happened, that kind of it kind of maneuvered some things around for me.
Yeah.
I had to, at this point now, I got to focus on my family. I got to kind of, I'm a little messed up right now. So it was probably about 2-3 weeks, man. I did not communicate with them. I told them what was going on.
Right.
I just needed some little time or whatever. Then we come back. We're getting everything together. And they're almost done. This is March. Okay.
March of 23. You signed October 21.
Now we're well into 2023.
It's like a year and a half later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So now we're in March, and we're still communicating, but now I found out I have cancer.
Whoa.
Okay. So I'm diagnosed with stage 4 cervical cancer. And of course, you hear something like that. Right now, everything is null and void right now. I gotta figure out, am I gonna live? Am I gonna die? What about my kids? What about my family? Like, where do I go from here? I communicated this with the company. So I'm expecting, and keep in mind, in our contract, and this is why it took them so long, we didn't have an open date in the contract. Okay. That was not in our contract when to be open.
It's difficult to have an open date when they have work that they need to complete.
Exactly.
Okay.
So when I tell them this, we're sorry to hear that. We need you to be open by April. I think it was like April 20th or something like. It was around April 20 something. Okay.
So, but you were diagnosed in March?
I was diagnosed in March. Okay.
So I understand. So March of 23, diagnosed. And they respond saying they want you open in April of 23. Like, we haven't gotten to April 24. So I just want. Okay.
So me being me, I'm trying to like, can I do this? Now I'm turning to my husband, because I'm like, babe, like, they want me open by April. Like, I can't lose this spot. I don't want to lose my location here. Are y'all gonna be able to step up and help me? Like, I might, if I got to do chemo, now I'm thinking about chemo. I'm thinking about what steps am I going to have to take? I don't know how hard this is going to be on my body. So my husband, my mom, my sisters, everybody, we got you. Whatever you need,
Yeah.
even if you ain't got to step foot in there for the first couple months, we got it. You know, of course, I was hesitant with that just because this is my baby. You know, this is something I've worked hard for.
It's like you're finally having your moment, like your moment is there.
Yes. So I went back to the company and I told them, I said, well, April, that should be fine. I said, but if I don't get to open by April, I said, where do we go from there? And they said, well, if you're not open by April, then we're going to have to void the contract. Okay. They're going to void the contract. So at this point, I'm kind of like, what do I do?
Mhm.
You know, I'm expecting them, okay, I gave y'all a whole year and a half.
Yeah, to show some type of grace and compassion.
But this is where learning points come in entrepreneurship because it's a business to them. You know what I'm saying? They could probably care less what I had going on. But
so
at this point,
they owned and managed the entire building, or they just managed it?
Okay, so I was under the impression they owned it, but then when it started coming out, they were telling me that, well, my investors are on my back about this. I have to get somebody in this location. We got to get it open. So I'm guessing.
Are they subleasing to you?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and then the thing was I was subleasing. So I was subleasing. It was a bar restaurant right next to me on the other side, and now that the spot that I was getting.
What, the brewery?
Yes, the brewery
that eventually closed.
During the same time I went in there to get some stuff.
It was supposed to be a market before that.
Yeah, and it was closed. Okay. So we're there. We're together.
Okay, let me tell it. So, all right, yeah. So before the brewery, there's another concept supposed to be in there. There were some changes to that. Mm-hmm. There was some stuff going on with that too. So you're not knowing that there's all this stuff going on in this building. Mm-hmm. There's all these dynamics, personalities, and things that are going on. Later on, the brewery's gone.
Yep.
And so as you were talking about learning and entrepreneurship, what in that lesson in contractual side of things did you learn from that now you're able to carry forward?
Business is one of them. Regardless of what I just feel like when you step into like something like that, a contract or whatever, personal life don't even matter, you know? So, what I probably could have done different was maybe had a lawyer, that could have looked over all my contracts for me, kind of, gave me pointers on how to have moved after that. Because at that point I was stuck. I didn't know where to go. Like,
but you also don't know that there's a difference between residential leasing and commercial leasing.
Yeah, I'm not,
because not knowing to ask the question, am I doing business with, are you the owner, representative, who is of this building? Because it's the building, okay, am I doing business with the building ownership or property manager, or is it subleased? Who am I doing business with?
Right.
That's that part. But you are dealing with stage 4 cancer. Business kind of goes in the background because you're talking about your life here.
Exactly. I was it was a blur. It was a real blur. I'm facing, like you said, stage 4 cancer, and now my business, what I worked hard for, is on the line. So I'm just like, God, like I feel like I've been listening to you. I'm asking you to guide my steps. So are you trying to tell me this isn't where I'm supposed to be? Like, I'm not doubting my faith, but I'm doubting like what I'm comprehending from it, So
like how am I getting this far and then this happens?
Right. So now April comes. We're still doing work on the building. I tell them, because at this point now I'm getting ready for chemo. I'm getting ready to start chemo and everything like this. And I just was sick. I was tired.
So these are some weeks later from being diagnosed, some weeks later that you are starting a treatment plan.
I'm starting a treatment plan. And really what got me was when they told me it was actually stage 4. Because you hear stage 4, I'm thinking,
You think a terminal. You think
yeah,
that's it.
that's what I'm thinking. So I'm like, should I even go through with this, or what's going on? So I'm reaching out to talk to them. They're not responding back to me.
But from the business aside, so how did you get the understanding that it was at stage 4? Was it, so in terms of being diagnosed, was it like something kind of going on in life? You're like, okay, like, all right, so, as much as you want to share, but it's like you go in and then are they letting you know in the beginning stage that it's progressed that way, or was it finding out later?
How I felt. Okay, so what happened was I was having abdominal pain. I was having my cycle was starting to get off balance. Things were just going on with my body, and that's why, like, now one of my mottos I always tell women, even men, listen to your body. Listen to your body. My body I knew something was going on. I didn't know it was this. Endometriosis runs in my family.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, oh, maybe I'm having, endometriosis, something like that. So I go to the emergency room in February, and in February they tell me, oh, at the emergency room, oh, you're gonna have to go see your primary care physician.
February of 23?
Yes.
This is after losing your cousin.
Yes, after my cousin.
And after they start doing work in December of 22.
Right. This is before I got diagnosed. So
a year is going by before they start construction. So you're doing that. You're working on, you're doing stuff. You're still doing it in the business, leveraging a food truck, stuff like that. In that time, December, they start breaking ground a year later. January, lose a family member. February, going into emergency room. March, being diagnosed. They want you to go in April, to open in April. You start treatment in April. So for 4 months, like, it's coming. Like, life is happening.
Life is happening. Life is lifing at that point. When I went in February for the emergency room, that's when they found the mass in my pelvic. They said they couldn't really diagnose. They didn't know what it was, but it was a pretty large mass in my pelvic. So now I go to see my PCP. My OB. I go see her, and she does some tests, and off top, I knew something was up because she did my pap smear, and then she came to me and she had got the ultrasound, the CAT scan, and everything that I had, CT scan, and everything I did at the emergency room. She had got that, and she came in and she sat down and she told me, I'm going to refer you over to the oncology clinic at OU. It's a cancer it's the cancer center, and all I remember is hearing cancer and oncology, and I'm like, everything else that she was talking about, it was going through one ear, not the other.
Right.
So I'm sitting here and I'm like, cancer, and she was like, yeah, we don't want to say it's cancer yet, but it was signs of it, things that we were seeing, and I'm just not comfortable with touching it. I would rather send you over here where I know they can handle it. Okay. Set me up. I think it was like that following week, I go see my doctor, my oncologist at OU Cancer Center. They do a biopsy, and they did another pap smear and a pelvic exam. I get a call a few days later, and that's when they told me that I was diagnosed with a rare form of cervical cancer, which was small cell carcinoma. Small cell carcinoma is one of the most deadliest, more aggressive cancers that they have, and it's more common in lung cancer patients. It's not uncommon to have it in cervical, but it's not common as well. So now I'm really panicking. Okay, so now I don't even know a stage 4. I just know at this point this is what they're saying.
Okay, so they'll tell you have a rare form of cancer. This is April.
This is April.
This is April.
No, this is still this is March. This is after. This is after I get
Oh, so that's when you're finding out
that's when I'm
like
finding out everything.
how the seriousness of the cancer you have.
Yes.
And you're telling them, and they're still like, "Hey, but we need you open in April."
Yeah. So
it makes sense of okay, where you're
yeah.
like, "Yo, like."
I'm like, this is serious for me, you know? So I told him, I said, now we're in April. So at this point, I have to go back and I got to tell him because now my doctors is saying I got to start chemo. And we're going to do surgery. The surgery was going to be a major surgery. I ended up having to have the surgery after a few rounds of chemo. And we had to do, I was going to be down for at least 6 weeks.
Okay.
Was the downtime. So April comes. I'm not open April. I had been emailing this company, the company about what was going on.
Right.
You know, and we're still doing work over here, but it's just moving a little bit slower. I won't lie, it was moving a little bit slower.
Oh, so y'all are you're actively in the building doing stuff.
Now I'm in the
so
building.
The family is in the building, helping out, getting things going.
Yep. And
at the same time, the family is also.
And keep in mind when you open up the building, you got to get inspections, permits. The plumbers had to get permits. It was things that was going. It was we were working,
right.
But I guess we wasn't working fast enough for them, as if they worked fast enough for me in the beginning.
I mean, permits are permits. I mean,
right. We can't do anything until they get these permits. And then the original plumber that had did their work on there didn't finish everything. So then I had to hire another plumber. We had to wait for the other plumber that they hired to get off of they have to get off of it in order for the new plumber to get off. It was a whole lot of different things. And you tell me in March you want me open by April, which I felt like they knew was impossible for me at the time. You know?
So it sounds like they were using you to abdicate their own responsibilities to their own investors because it's easier to say you're the holdup versus
correct
taking responsibility.
And that's exactly what they did. They literally did this right after I put in. It was about $25,000 just alone for my vent hood. Okay, that was just alone for my vent hood that I had just got put in, and I don't get none of that back. Not, and that's just the vent hood, not including my equipment that I had to buy. You know, like everything else that I had to put in. You know, I'm out of money for all of that stuff. So April 20th come, I'm not open. I finally get an email, but the email is terminating my lease. Okay.
This is while you're going through treatment.
This is why I'm going through treatment now. Okay. So that now I'm dealing with losing my restaurant. I'm dealing with losing my restaurant. I'm dealing with my treatments. You know, I'm dealing with trying to be there for my kids because my kids are scared. My husband is scared. Like it's so many things that's coming at me. And again,
in 6 months.
In 6 months. But my faith.
I'm waiting on the but God moment.
My faith. I just kept praying. I know this. I was telling God, I know this can't be it. This can't, you did not bring me this far. And one of my mottos right now, and I'm still trying to figure out if I want to do this book, because it has been presented to me. He's not done with me yet. And I live by that, you know. I got through that. I got through my surgery.
Well, in that moment, so you will skip over that. So wherever there's an opportunity to share your testimony so he gets the glory. So whether it's through the book or through conversation, like someone has to hear it. And I enjoyed having conversations with people through this podcast because there's so much amazing talent here.
Yeah.
And more conversations need to happen. So someone understands that, I mean, you experience all of this, whether childhood or adulthood, and it's still pushing, and you decided to root your life on your faith and pray and seek guidance, and still, in spite of something opens. And so in ways, God has an interesting way of like, yeah, that's what you wanted, but that's not what I'm going to give to you, because there was something I need you to learn in this experience as I'm preparing you to give you what I really have for you, right? Because God doesn't always lay it completely out.
Mm-mm.
And sometimes you don't see the next step you got to take, but just keep going. Witness like the ringing of the bell ceremonies. You remember that day?
I do. It was very emotional. All my mother-in-law had came down. She's from Arkansas. She came down. My family, all my family, my mom, dad, and everybody was there. Um, and I just remember like my nurses, they all said I always came in, I was dressed to the T. They always felt like I had a good spirit, so they was like, everybody was kind of emotional. So I rang my bell. The treatment on top of the surgery, they had got everything out. I had a full hysterectomy, meaning they took everything to prevent, for a higher risk of it not coming back. And the day I rang the bell, it was just it was a great feeling, but a lot of people don't like, yeah, you beat cancer, but at the same time, now it's a whole different
Life
set
after.
of emotions that set in. Because now, like, yeah, your doctor's gonna tell you, okay, you're NED, which means no evidence of disease, cancer free. But now we want to see you every 3 months. Now you're gonna have for the first year. Now it was so many different things I had to do.
So did it feel like you were cancer free then?
Not at first. Not at first. Even still now, I literally just made a post that I'm seeking a therapist because I'm guessing survivor's remorse or whatever you want to call it. I'm kind of going through now because it's like I can't even enjoy that I'm cancer free because I'm still so traumatized and scared.
Yep.
It's always a possibility it can come back. It's like, well, what if it come back? What if I die? Like, it's like all of these emotions that you deal with daily that I don't know. And even with my faith in God, sometimes like I get to where I feel bad because I'm like, God, I'm trusting you. I do trust you.
Right.
But these emotions, I can't hide them. I can't, because they always say, well, if you trust God, how are you going to question him? How are you going to be scared? Like, that's crazy to me, because of course I'm scared. Of course I believe in God, but of course I'm not ready to die either.
I mean, God didn't say you couldn't ask him questions.
Exactly.
I mean, what do we think that Jesus did? Was that John 17 when he was praying? Like, he asked him, but then he said, not my will, but your will. So I think people have to stop religiousizing, that's the word I just made up, someone's experience. But I would absolutely encourage you to find the therapist that's good for you, because I've been going to therapy for probably going on 10 years now. Best decision ever.
Yeah.
Best
and I
decision.
hear that.
If you become a better person and you realize how things are connected, because at the end of it, in this journey, God does give you glory. But I'm going to park something right there for a moment. Talk about your husband. You mentioned him several times. How was his support for you in that process?
Amazing. And I'm just going to be transparent and I'm going to be open about everything. Prior to that cancer diagnosis, me and him were going through a lot, and it not in a bad way. It was more so we were freshly married. We've only been married 3 years at that point too. And I think it was us both just trying to find the balance.
Right. You're young and new. Like,
so
how this marriage thing works, and then life starts happening.
So we were kind of struggling in our marriage, far as like, like communicating and spending time, like just things like that. And when I say going through this and having him by my side was probably nothing but God, because I had a man that loved me so much, through all of this. He still stayed. He held me down, went to every doctor's appointment, every chemo session, made sure the kids were straight. Kids didn't skip a beat in anything that they did. And that was all because of him. So it made us stronger. It made me realize like I actually do love my husband. Like, not saying that I didn't, but it was kind of just, we was at a point where I was like, what are we doing? But that just showed me like how much he loved me, that he stepped up in those ways. I would not been able to get through that without him. You know, like my mom wasn't here because she was doing travel nursing. So I had nobody to rely on but him.
Right.
You know, so he was a big, big part
Mhm.
in the whole process.
Remember your son was having that time adjusting his freshman year? What? He'll be all right.
He'll be all right.
And I think that's the strength that men bring. And you would have never known that this was going to happen in your life and who needs to be there.
Exactly.
You know, and in that moment, because we as men, we have our way of showing up in strength is just different.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's organic. And sometimes it's hard to describe and explain because we also carry weights and things that are heavy too.
Mm-hmm.
And so, whereas you might have perceived it as challenges in communication, but our way of internalizing and processing it is maybe sometimes what I'm going to communicate is not that important because I got to be strong the way we know how to be strong. Because who tells us what's our model of what strength and what gentleness looks like?
Right.
Like what's ours? So you're navigating yours and he's having to navigate his at the same time. And so when you said, when you made the statement that you said that you actually love him, I didn't take it as like you didn't, but those are those moments where you realize the sacrificial nature of what love is,
right?
What you see, and even I would probably assume for him, it is understanding how love can look different, right?
And also too at the time, because my husband has a dog business, right? Okay. He breeds dogs. He sold all of his dogs. He got rid of every dog we had during that time.
Wow.
So that he could focus on us, you know. And of course we needed the money too. It was, you know, bills was piling up. Like, you know,
yeah.
he
Men and their dogs.
yeah. This is a lot. So he's now.
I love German Shepherds. I got one left. One my youngest one passed away like 2 years ago. So
yeah. And I hated dogs. So now he's building it back up, and I'm just all for it because I know the sacrifices that he made for me. You know, so now I'm helping him. You know, wanting him to get back in and build his dog kennel back up. Shout out to Orange Factory Bulldogs.
Okay. I see y'all keep it in there in a minute. Yeah. So, so these things have happened, right? Life has happened, and you have just listened to you, heavily relied on your faith and kept going. Like things have tried to knock you off the path, but you just kept going and kept going. So what's next?
So now, fast forward, I ring my bell. December of 2023. I kind of was like, I'm ready to get back out here.
Okay.
I wanted to get this time, I just want my food truck. And I want it to be something that's mine. Like, I own this. This is mine. Can nobody take this away from me this time. And I felt like that was what God knew I needed the whole time.
But you didn't want a food truck.
I did. But then remember Mama.
Oh, right. No, you did want a food truck, but Mama was like, let's do this lounge thing.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So now I'm like, okay. December, my husband got a settlement. And it came at a perfect time because now I've been talking to God this whole time. I'm like, God, I'm gonna get a food truck. That's what I want. God, I'm believing it. I'm telling you this. Right. I'm putting it in your hand. That happened. He didn't even know I was praying for this. So he gets the settlement, and I happened to be on Facebook Market, and keep in mind, I got to shout out my guy Terrence. He had sent me an inbox, and he said, "Hey, I know you said you wanted a food truck. This person is selling this food truck." I go on there and I talk to the guy, and he was so nice. And I told him what had been going on. I said, I'm just looking for a food truck. I need it at the reasonable price. I need it at this price. He said, it's yours. He said, I will take, I told him, I said, well, I won't be able to come get it until so and so date. Can my husband and my dad come look at it? He said, yeah. They went and looked at it. My husband called me. He said, I like it. He said, it's perfect size.
Right.
He's like, is this really what you want? I said, yeah. He said, well, I got some money. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna get this. I'm like, you about to purchase it like, right now? He like, yeah. So he got the food truck. I can't remember if he came back with it. I don't think he came back. I think they went back and picked it up and brung it back. And it's mine.
Did you know he was going to actually get it?
I did not.
Okay.
I didn't.
But you knew that he was actually looking for the truck.
Mm-hmm.
You knew this was a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
So you didn't know. Did you know he actually got it and it was like coming in the driveway? Did you know that part?
Once he bought it, I did. Once he got down there and bought it and was bringing it back, I did know that. But when he went down there, I didn't know for sure. Because my husband is very frugal too. He got to ask 1,000 questions.
Got to be right.
It got to make sense to him.
Man, for us to we don't like buyer's remorse. We don't like that. If I paid for that, look, it's gonna be here for a minute.
And so I think he kind of dwelt. He probably thought about it too, and then he decided he was.
This was December 23.
Yes.
Okay, so a few months ago.
Yeah, a few months ago. Okay. So now we are in the process. We got some things that we need to get fixed on the food truck, and we're waiting right now for our inspection. And we are going to be popping out, get dip tacos starting in April.
Okay.
And that's just the beginning. Like, we have so much more in store, but right now we're gonna get dip tacos on the road.
So it's coming back.
It's coming back.
Your own food truck. So can you now see having all the thing that you said you wanted the food truck. Mm-hmm. And can you now see how valuable those experiences have been to know how you can have this successful business?
Definitely. It has taught me a lot. And now I feel like I am made of steel. So at this point, can't nothing knock me down. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Like, is nothing I feel like I can't overcome. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm more knowledgeable when it comes to the business side of how things is going to go, how things go. And then I just got the city of Oklahoma behind me. They love me and I love them. And that's really the motivation, because even though I'm not gonna lie, I don't plan on staying in Oklahoma City. You know, I don't feel like, oh, once you make it, oh, you gotta get
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna start it out here, but I got other things I want to do.
Right.
But I'm always love OKC, and I just thank them for just sticking beside me through all of this, because even when I was going through like my cancer stuff, I had so many people reaching out to me, people I didn't even know that knew of me, you know. I'm in a grocery store and I had a lady come up to me. She said, I had your tacos. She's like, I've been waiting for you to come back out. When, you know, like, that's the kind of motivation that keeps me going. And I love that. And I just can't wait to get back on the streets and just serve my community. And when I say my community, I mean all over. Like, we're not just gonna be on the east side. We're not just gonna be on the north side. Like, I want to be able to
go on to the customers. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I am an entrepreneur, and I haven't started nothing. So I'm new. I got these ideas. I'm you. Mm-hmm. But I'm coming to you asking you what are 3 pieces of advice that you would share with me on how to start my business?
First, I'm going to tell you to ask God to align your steps. Ask God what it is that he sees fit in your life. Is this what he really wants you to be doing? Secondly, educate yourself. Educate yourself, like find out your market. Find your market. It's a lot of research that goes into this. Like, for me, so I have a taco business. I had to, like, I didn't want to just attract our people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I want to attract all people. So I had to do, like, I just researched, like, I know that the South Side is where a lot of food trucks is at. Okay.
But the South Side community is also different in the way that the culture of the South Side is it's very reminiscent of their community, like food carts and stuff on the corner and pop-ups. So when people come, if they're coming to Oklahoma City from out of the country, it looks like home. It looks like if they're from Mexico or South America. So it looks like the community. I'm glad when you said not about us, because I think often Black-owned businesses
we feel
confused that our customer is Black people. Like your customer is the attributes of them, or who wants this product, whether they are Black or Hispanic or whatever ethnic or cultural background. When you're looking at your avatar of a customer, it is what are the buying attributes. Now, if you feel so compelled to say, like, I'm targeting Black customers, that's fine. But you're understanding that in Oklahoma City, small population of Black people, even smaller population of people who are eligible to buy. So your customer is based on their attributes or their buying behavior. That's your customer. Which then you go find where they are, right? Around a very large metro area. Okay. So first you said, go to God, ask for guidance on what you should do. Find your customer. What's the third thing that you would recommend?
The third thing that I would recommend is, even if it's small, I always would want to do a business plan. And I say that because you don't know how big you might get. You might not know when you might have to go get that loan. And then when you write it down, it's affirmation, and it's putting it into the universe, when you write it down. So those are the top three things I would say. Just starting off, if you're starting out and you're just trying to get into it, those three: ask God, do your research in your market, and do your business plan.
Yep. So I think those two will help then guide the information you put in your business plan.
Correct.
Especially when you are seeking guidance and wisdom on what direction you could go in. You're researching like where your customer base may be, because you might ironically find out that your target audience, maybe it's not in your metro area.
Right.
It might be in a town or a location or an area that you didn't think is possible, but you spent so much time asking your friends who are not in business, who don't understand what you were supposed to do. And they're saying, well, you should be over here. Just because someone recommends come to this location, that's because that's what they're saying, but that may not be your customers there. It might be in a completely different area.
I got a friend right now, and I'm so, so proud of her. Like, I remember when she first even started speaking about having a shoe store, right? And she wanted a shoe store. So she started her shoe store, and of course, she was trying to stay in Oklahoma. She was trying to bring something to Oklahoma that Oklahoma didn't have, right? Was a shoe store. And she started doing really good. But do you know when she started to really blossom and she started hitting $1 million years, when she went strictly on her she found out where her market was, which was really online, instead of, here where we feel like we got to come back and put stuff and I'm not saying that that's wrong. But then when she got online and she moved, she took her business to Dallas, and then she got online, baby. Up.
So as a tip to you in catering, I would reach out to restaurants like Plus 254 Taste of Africa, Jola's in Edmond, and Mama's E's. Those three have mastered how to ship food safely outside of the state of Oklahoma and internationally.
That's dope. And see, you just put me in, because I never would have thought about that. I never would have thought about that.
Think about it. It's in that market of people, they are often finding folks who want to have food like home. So the same thing, let's to the South Side. They want to feel like this food tastes like home. So they ship things back home. So when you understand shipping and packaging and labeling and all that, so now think about it. And I'll wrap this up. So all of them, Mama's E's, Taste of Africa, and Jola's in Edmond, they have their own seasoning. Mama's E's has a supermarket. So everybody comes to Mama's E's are looking for things from home. That's really the most vibrant, largest African market in our metro. Right? Both Jola's and Taste of Africa both have their own seasoning brand. They both have their own packaging, because they often ship their stuff out. So their models, those two restaurants, the last two, their model isn't based on dine-in traffic.
Yeah.
So you as having a mobile business, a food truck operator, how do you not depend on people coming to your window? How do you think about that? Think about not being dependent on people coming to your window. The restaurant scene, 65% of the restaurant's business before was based on dine-in traffic. Restaurants are getting smaller. Dining traffic is less. It flipped the model on its head, COVID did. So there are options right now that allow you to then be able to get your food to people versus having them to come to you. The market after COVID has changed. So the way that you go have a vibrant food truck that could lead to maybe a brick and mortar later on, as you want to, you have to find a way to, how do I get my product to people where I don't have to depend on them coming to me. Thank y'all for listening to this episode of the Bigger Than Food podcast with Miss Saysha Orange from Dip Tacos. Amazing story of how she's triumphed, how she relied on her faith, how she's not let that stop her from pursuing her dream, and she's full-fledged and going back at it. She is a person who is cancer-free. She is thriving in her life. So if people want to find you, because when this episode comes out, your food truck will be out in the streets.
Yes, it will.
So how are people able to find you and support you?
You can actually follow my Facebook, which is Get Dip Tacos, and my Instagram is get_dip_tacos. You can follow us any of those platforms, and just make sure you turn on your notifications, because we will post weekly where we will be at for the whole week.
So follow on social media, get on that email newsletter,
yes.
Be intentional with how you spend and support this amazing Black-owned, woman-owned business as they're getting back out in the market. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Thank you for joining the Bigger Than Food podcast. We hope you found inspiration in stories shared today. Remember, it's the courage to take action that drives real change in the world. Be sure to subscribe to the Bigger Than Food podcast for more conversations with movers and shakers who are shaping our tomorrow. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep believing, and keep making a difference.